What's up, Covalence friends? Today we're going to be getting into part 4 of our emails by API series. We're going to be looking at Mandrill, which is a service owned by MailChimp. A lot of people have heard of MailChimp. If you haven't, we're going to be looking at them today. So it's going to be interesting. We're even going to be setting up a custom domain because they make you. And yeah, I won't waste any more time. Let's get into it. All right, so if you go to mandrillapp.com, it's going to actually take you to this login page here that essentially just has a button in here that says login using MailChimp. Now, Mandrill's owned by MailChimp, and so all the authentication goes through MailChimp, and you have to actually purchase everything from MailChimp, right? So Mandrill's basically just a transactional email plugin at this point. So if we go ahead and we click this, it's going to ask us to type in our username and password. And setting up the account is obviously, if you haven't created one yet, or if you don't have one, you just click this button here, and it takes you through this insane step-by-step process where it asks you a whole bunch of marketing questions. It seems easy at first, then they kind of get you. And you have to pick a plan. You can obviously choose the free plan. And let's see, I think I put some insanely long password. Let's see if I can actually type this correctly. Log in, I got it. All right, so let's see, two-factor, no, we'll do this later. It's gonna ask you for two-factor authentication and all that jazz. So anyway, it's gonna put you into this actually MailChimp backend here, but if we wanna do transactional email, which is obviously email by API, we're gonna go to automations here and transactional email. So if we click that, it's gonna take us to our transactional email page. Now, they have this whole 90 days left ordeal. It says start your free trial. They actually give you a certain amount of time free for any of the plans they offer. And you get a lot of bonuses for upgrading your plan. But on the free plan, I think you get up to 500 emails that you can use and that you can successfully send. And then if you need to upgrade, I think they have some very cheap plans that allow you to have a significantly larger amount of emails, and then you can pay per email if you go over that, something along those lines. So again, pricing is not quite as clean as SendGrid and Mailgun, but they have a lot of actual benefits as far as campaigns go and the whole CMS that they offer as well. So if you're looking for that whole integrated CMS experience, I feel like MailChimp might be a slightly better experience because then you can kind of tack on this whole Mandrill extension and get the transactional email as well for your in-app purchases or anything like along those lines. So we can go ahead and we can launch the Mandrill app. It's going to take us into our dashboard here, and we are going to, at first, we actually need to set up a domain. And so if we go into settings, if you don't have a domain set up already, it's going to ask you to, on that dashboard, it's going to actually say you will not be able to send an email unless you've actually set up a domain. Now, we already have a domain set up. So if we go into domains, sending domains, we have Covalence.io set up as verified. And if you aren't on a paid plan, this is actually the biggest pain in the butt. If you're on a paid plan, you can't actually send an email to anybody except on a verified domain. So if you're only sending emails internally, you're fine. But if you're trying to send emails to outside sources, outside individuals, you have to actually have a paid plan. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add an additional domain here, just kind of go through the process and how this works. Verifying the domain is pretty easy. They just send you an email and you click the link. So you have to have some sort of email access, or you can set up a text record and you can verify the domain that way. DKIM and SPF settings are both text records. So you have to be able to have access to your DNS. So we have access here. Let's go ahead and set up the DKIM first. So it's going to be this subdomain. So we go into Google Domains, we go into DNS, and then we can actually come in here and we can add some custom records. So we can create custom record. We're going to say text record. The subdomain is mandrill_domain key. And the data is going to be what they pasted here. So we're going to remove this white space. And then the other one is going to be the SPF record, which is here. And that's actually at the root. And we can go ahead and we can copy this, and we're going to make sure that it's at the root. It's a text record, and there's the value. So we can save both of these. We now have both of the text records that they need. When we close this, we can say test DNS settings, and bam, we're valid for both. So we have both these domains set up, meaning that we can actually send from or to either of these. So we're going to send from one to the other. and we should be pretty much good to go there. So we are going to let's see, we're going to try and jump into the code now. Why not? So let's go ahead and we are going to kind of do everything exactly the same as parts 1 and parts 2. So if you've already seen those, you could probably skip ahead because we're basically just going to be writing out, the exact same logic for our send grid and for our mailgun videos, except we're going to be doing this in, for MailChimp, right? All right, so let's go ahead and we are going to do our hello.ts here. And we're going to do all of the stuff that isn't MailChimp specific first. And then we're going to kind of move into that MailChimp specific logic. So again, if you need to skip ahead or if you've already seen this part, you can go ahead and skip forward probably about 10 minutes or so. And then you can kind of just see the MailChimp specific logic. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to change this to be success Boolean. And we're going to change this as well to be success. And then this is going to be true. And we're only going to be doing this. This is actually has to be changed to an async function. And we're going to say if request.method equals post. We're actually going to be doing this here. So we'll move that into here and we'll return. Otherwise, we're going to res.status 404.json success false. All right, so we can start kind of grabbing variables here. We're going to say request.body, or empty object. We're going to have our, our intro. So intro equals body.intro, or empty string. We're going to have our content, which is body.content, or empty string. And then we're going to have our email object, which if you watched part 1 or part 2, you saw that we used a mail generator. We're going to use that same mail generator this time, and it takes in an object with a single key body that includes the name, or customer, and it also includes our intro as well as an outro, which is going to just be our content. All right, so this is going to be passed into our actual mail generator. We're going to grab that when we grab our other packages that we need, but we're going to run our try catch here, and the success is obviously going to be in the try part. Otherwise, we're going to actually fail with a 500. Whoop, 500, there we go. And we're going to send back false. All right, so we can res.status. This is basically where we're going to be calling MailChimp send. We'll grab that in a second, but let's move to our front end first. Again, this is written in React. This is our next template. If you guys don't know React, check out our React course. It's actually the last React course you'll ever need, and it's pretty freaking awesome. And on top of that, it's included in our Covalence community membership, which is our most affordable option yet. So shameless plug, check it out. Links in the description below. But we're going to be putting another div here that is going to have some top and bottom padding, as well as center all the text. And then we're going to place our button that is just going to say send. There's not going to be any styling or anything specific with this button, but there will be an on-click handler. It's actually going to be an async on-click handler. And we're going to just have one big try catch block. And we're going to alert email failed if we have to catch an error. Otherwise, we are going to call await fetch. It's going to be /API/hello. And we're going to need to pass in a bunch of properties here. So our properties are going to be method. We're going to pass in a post, our body, JSON.stringify. We're going to pass in some options there. And then we're going to pass up our headers, which is going to be an object. And the only one that we really need to pass up is content type, which is application JSON. And for our body, we're going to pass up our name. And we can use Johnny Appleseed again. Why not? We're going to pass up our to, which let's send it to, let's see, code at or legal at. I think we should be able to send it to legal@covalence.io. I think I get those emails. All right, so we can also pull up let's see, our subject is going to be click me, a little clickbaity. And then our intro is welcome to Covalence. We'll do one exclamation point, so not to get too crazy. And our content is going to be check out our community membership at https covalence.io. I'm not typing good today, guys. All right, /membership. Yeah, I'm just not typing well. https://covalence.io/membership. Again, check it out. It's amazing. All right, so this should be everything that we actually need for sending the request. Now we can actually look at r.json, and if res.success, then we can alert email sent. Else, we want to just throw a new error, which will then be caught inside of our catch, which should call email failed. All right, so this looks pretty good. Let's go ahead, go back to our API now, and we're gonna actually have to do our MailChimp specific logic. So let's go into our terminal, new terminal. Hopefully anybody who's fast forwarding found this part right here. And we're gonna start actually installing some packages. So we need to yarn add, and we're gonna do @MailChimp /MailChimp _ transactional, save. All right, and so this should install that package that we need. Then we're going to yarn add, since we're using TypeScript, we need to yarn add our TypeScript types for this package. They are not included. So we have to yarn add, and it's going to be @types. And this one's kind of ridiculous. It's MailChimp _ MailChimp _ transactional. So kind of crazy, but that's what it is. Finally, we're going to yard add mailgen, which is our mail generator. You don't need the mail generator. You can generate your own HTML or your own text, whatever you need, but we're going to kind of keep it simple, and we're going to use the mail generator. So if we go to our package.json, we can see here are the package names. If you need them, @MailChimp / MailChimp _ transactional, @types, it's MailChimp _ MailChimp _ transactional, and then we have mailgen. So we have all the packages that we need. We go back to our hello.ts, and we can actually start importing some of these types, right? So we can import MailChimp from @MailChimp, and we can import mailgen from mailgen. Pretty simple. And we're going to have our API key. So we're going to have API key equals, and it's going to be process.env. We can just say, MailChimp key, or we're going to have our string. Again, guys, we're going to grab this API in a second. And then we are going to call const mailgen equals, and we can actually new up our mailgen import. So new mailgen, and we need to specify a theme, which is going to be default, and we need to specify a product as well, which is going to be an object, and that object is going to have our name, which is going to be Covalence, and it's going to be a link, which we're going to use our homepage for. So we have covalence.io. Perfect. All right, so this is our mailgen. We should be able to actually generate that mail now. And we can now also do MailChimp, which equals MailChimp, and we actually pass in API key. Now we haven't actually gotten this API key yet, so we're gonna have to grab that real quick. So let's go back to our Mandrill. We can go to settings again, and the main settings is these API keys here. Now we have an active one. We're gonna revoke this real quick. We don't want 2 active API keys. And so let's see, it's gonna allow us to delete this. And again, guys, we're gonna create a new one here, but we're gonna delete this as soon as I finish filming this, so don't worry about actually trying to use this key or copy it down. So make sure you copy it here, because once we close this modal, you're never gonna be able to see it again. And we're going to pass that in to here, and that's what we're gonna use as our API key. So should be good to go. we have everything essentially that we need except the send itself. So for the send itself, we are going to call const r equals await mailchimp.messages.send. And we pass in an object. That object needs a message property that is also an object. And that object, that message object, is going to need a to, which is going to be an array. It needs a from name. It doesn't need actually all this. It really just only needs a to, but you want to specify as much as you can. So we're going to send it from Covalence. Why not? And we're sending it to Covalence, which is ironic, but that's beside the point. We can say no reply at covalence.io. Why don't we say covalence coding.io? So we're going to be sending it from covalence coding.io, and we can send it to legal at covalence.io, right? So this is where it's going to. It's going to legal at covalence.io. It's coming from no reply at covalence coding.io. All right, we have our subject, which is body.subject, or clickbait. And then we're going to have our text and our HTML. So our text is going to be mailgen.generate plain text, and we're going to pass in that email object that we created up here. So we have our text and we have our HTML, and the HTML is mailgen.generate, and we pass in the same object. Now the only thing we have left is this to field. Obviously you can send it to as many people as you need, but it's going to be an array of objects, and you're going to get basically a response that is also an array. So it's going to let you know, in array format, which of these messages was actually successful. So the email that we're sending to is going to be, body.to, and the name is body.name. So it's name and email. It's coming in here, and we're basically going to get a response, so we can look at whatever this R response is. We could log it, so console.log R. And I'm not sure the typings are actually correct, but we are going to check if, let's see, R.0, R.0, right, because it's the first one. And then we're going to say status equals rejected. Then we're going to throw a new error because we want it to be caught, and we want to basically send a unsuccessful. So it doesn't seem to like this. Let's see. It says property 0 does not exist on messages send response array, or, all right, so it seems to not like this. Messages send response array. Let's see, it doesn't like this either. There we go. Oh, so there we go. So we just had to cast it. All right, so that's a TypeScript ordeal. So we just had to cast R to messages send response, because otherwise it's going to be an Axios error. But we can check if, wow, everything's going crazy. So if this R.0.status equals rejected, we're going to throw the error. Otherwise, we're going to basically know that it's successful. But we're going to log R to just kind of see that response, just to make sure that we got our data model correct here. All right, so everything seems to be correct. Let's go ahead and run this. Yarn dev. All right, so everything's compiling. Everything looks good. Let's go ahead and we're going to go to localhost 3000. We have our page up and we have our send button. We go ahead and we click send. It looks like it is email failed. So we actually got an email fail. Let's go ahead and see what happened. All right, so we have legal at covalence.io status rejected, reject reason unsigned. All right, so it does not like the fact that it's coming from there. Let's go ahead. I wonder if we have it from no reply at covalence.io. Let's see. So did not like the fact that it was across different domains. So let's go ahead and we're going to resend it again. And yeah, there we go. Email sent. So it actually doesn't like the fact that even though we have both domains verified, it doesn't like the fact that it's a different domain that we're sending it to. So that's kind of funny. I just learned something about MailChimp, which makes it incredibly annoying. But yeah, so we can go ahead and we can see that our failure worked, which is nice to know. And this next time that we actually got in here, we got, let's see if we can actually pull it down a little bit. We got legal@covalence.io sent, right? So when we're sending it from no_reply@covalence.io to legal@covalence.io, we're good to go. So as long as you have to stick across the same domain to be able to successfully send while you're in this mode. Now, if you pay for MailChimp, that doesn't matter anymore. You can send it to whoever you want. So again, if you need to upgrade, you need to obviously send it to somebody other than inside the same domain. You're gonna have to do that. Now, I could also change the from email to be from Covalence Coding, and I could send it to Covalence Coding, and that should work as well. So again, that's a funny little, I guess, requirement of MailChimp or Mandrill, whatever you want to say. But we actually got the email sent. So if we want to check this, let's see. I can maybe pull up groups real quick and just kind of see if we can, check this out. Let's see, legal. Click me, bam. So to Johnny Appleseed. Hi, Johnny Appleseed, welcome to Covalence. We got everything. We can even click this link and it takes us to the membership page, which is awesome. So yeah, 66 cents a day. Check out our Covalence membership. Again, endless, shameless little plug at the end here. So we got it. MailChimp's working. All right, so I know that was quite a bit of stuff in a very short amount of time. I will try to go as slow as possible without boring the heck out of you, but we set up a custom domain mainly because MailChimp makes you do it. We also had to make sure that we're sending from and to the same domain, which is also a pain in the butt. You can verify as many as you want, but you have to send it across the same domain name. And yeah, it's kind of ridiculous if I'm being honest. So I think personally, if you're looking to just get something up quick and easy, SendGrid or Mailgun are a much better option. You have that sandbox environment too. It makes testing so much easier. But if you're looking for that full-on CMS solution with multi-level campaign capabilities and you just need transactional emails as an add-on, then I think that's where MailChimp kind of has, I guess, the benefit there. But realistically, doing transactional emails through MailChimp are only going to be good if you're already paying for MailChimp. Let's be real. So that's my 2 cents. If you guys have any differing opinions or if you need any more information, feel free to drop it in the comments below. If you guys have any other email services that you want to see the code for, or you want to see integrated in, let me know. I can obviously make a video on that as well. But for now, this is going to be the last part of this series. And yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you like SendGrid, Mailgun, or MailChimp the most. And otherwise, check out our React content. Check out our Covalence membership. That actually includes all of our courses, all in one big bundle for literally the lowest price ever. And check out our merch store as well. So we got some cool merch available in the links below. Anyway, until next time, make sure you subscribe and see you soon.